In the hope that science about lavas will be taught as a discipline in schools at some point, I have voiced a brief introductory course. The information is presented without any mystification, with a static point of view. Our pre-biblical ancestors were well educated at this matter. We also should comprehend all over again, collecting the fragments, checking on personal experience. The information will be updated and may be revised upon receipt of new information. Lava can be represented as a modulated information piece of the life force. It means to set the program to the media, focusing on some thought, feeling, image. In the same way in the initial evolutionary phase where we are. You can create a talisman, a charm, an activator, agent of recovery, and all that sort of thing. Creating of lava is characterized in that the person pumps it up with the life force unconsciously to such a state. When it becomes a self-aware entity, begins to experience emotions, it obtains the survival instinct, intellect. In other words, the person has actually generated new life, his child, and beginning to treat it tenderly, taking care of it as with a Tamagotchi, feeding it with own life and jealously guarding against any attacks. In the beginning, it is enough to maintain the looped thoughts on some issue, conflict, and lust for feeding the parasite. Once lava has been born and starts to cling to life, in order to stimulate the flow of material vitality, parasite feeds parent's body with a natural drug, triggering the necessary psychological processes in the body. On the mental level, parasite aggravates the feeling of self-pity. Because of lava's mental manipulations, people identify it as self-pity. Thus, the parasite erases its existence from the mind of the recipient. But I have been repeatedly convinced that at heart the person well imagines the state of things if they are guided with leading questions. It is not difficult for parasites to control a human body. Sundry, ranging from scabies and worms, can manage it. The parasites control the behavior of the person, choosing the best conditions of their breeding, the required food quality and acidity. They make people to defend these conditions from any attacks. There will be always people who try to help the dying man, actually an addict, fatally hooked on perverse pleasure. People could easily control their own bodies also. By their own nature, people are actually the masters of own bodies. But today, infernal forces change the mentality of society the way that we are convinced of our insignificance. Further developing, building up its body, lava becomes like hernias and fixed on the appropriate human's body part. Not that parasite was very attached to that organ, but simply because it is more convenient and easier to lava to eat. For example, if the thoughts are fixated on unhappy love, the lava would sit on the heart. If thoughts are fixated on the issue of gluttony, it will be located in the area of the stomach. If there is an issue of liability, lava will be located in the neck, shoulders. If a person has an excessive burden for life, a lava finds a place in the lumbar area. And so on for each body part, including internal organs. Lava diligently maintains an inner conflict, anxiety, and fear to optimally high level in order to knock out every day a new portion of donor's supply in form of energy of creation, which man possesses by right of birth and gets daily, and loses it almost completely by investing in pointless efforts and not being able to take advantage of it. In fact, lava doesn't digest this energy and not poop in it as one might think. It is simply impossible because this energy is eternal and indestructible. Lava embeds it in the body, but only a small percentage of extracted. The main part forwards to its God, whom she knows and sees with own eyes. It knows exactly that the conditions for its birth were created by its God, who arranged everything in our world the way so that people do not control this process. If we hadn't been duped and misinformed, then there would be not many fools who would create vampires sucking their own life and consciousness. In the event of a sudden resolution of an internal conflict or elimination of external problems, lava very quickly, often within a day, organizes a new conflict, anxiety or fear. Everyone can experience it. Once we get rid of some nagging problem, we will immediately create another one, often just silly and not justified by common sense. As a result, the winning of energy is transferred to another body part, which begins to degrade and eventually fails. In theory, there may be several lavas, but I see no such indication. In fact, the lava is a device that provides access to the connection of any other entities of the internal world. If a person has no lavas, infernal entities cannot easily use human energy. Lava is absolutely not bothered by living together with other parasites, who through its mediation get warm on this volcano of vital force named a man. Through Parasite, a person can be possessed by devilry and demons. The infernal hierarchy can take over the human management, psychics can connect when working with clients, magicians while performing their manipulations, and clergy can connect you as a religious egregore. And ordinary people can feed on the life force of relatives or dependent people like vampires. That is, lava is an open window to the infernal world. In order to connect a person to their network for the prey of energy, infernal world needs a connector, and this is a lava. Self-adjusting proactive device with own consciousness and adequate knowledge of the functioning of the person. Therefore, infernal god structures and equips the material world, which is inhabited by the donors, the way that the device was for sure reproduced and embedded in every person. To do this on Earth, the materialistic civilization of the demonic path of development has destroyed the Earth's protection from the infernal invasion, destroyed infrastructure and the structure of society. Civilization has been reduced and fragmented, history was falsified, science was limited, medicine relegated to relieving symptoms of diseases. Media was introduced for a final disorientation and to control mentality. True knowledge of a multidimensional world order was removed from general use and replaced with religions. All results of work and accumulated cultural and material values of mankind are confiscated through loan percent. In these ideal conditions, there was created the atmosphere of uncertainty, fear, debauchery, lechery, and degradation. The parasite is pumping energy of creation in the infernal world. The infernal world creates conditions for the livelihood of lava. Full circle. The hierarchy of the infernal world, from the point of view of lava, can be represented as follows. Infernal entities of the lowest order, something like the world of plants, lichens, they quietly settle down in the areas of expiring vital energy. The single thought forms, elementals, having the desire to be implemented. These are mini programs like viruses on various subjects which arouse once in information field. Judging by that how many civilizations over billions of years developed to the highest point, died or evolved, can assume that there is a thought and emotion on any possible subject in space. The entities of a middle level possessing the personality, a set of emotions and intelligence. They have a strong desire to assert themselves, to materialize and evolve through the person. Through animals, for example, it is impossible to fulfill, except for attempts to do it through domesticated, socialized ones. These entities also sit on the body parts, suck the life force with the aim of broadcasting and assigning percent. They are trying to replace the human personality by their own, sometimes collective. This is what we know as demon possession. All these processes can be compared with the intercourse of the corrupt official with the state. The corrupt official causes a huge loss to the state, squandering its resources, betraying the fatherland, putting it on the brink of the destruction, while he assigns only a small part of the plunder. Psychics, magicians, sorcerers. They are the mediators of the infernal world and play a great role in creation of material security and the organization of social processes from local to global in an infernal direction. They also collect and stream the life force if necessary, receive the information, support and additional energy out of the common fund as a booster charge. Egregores. These are live connectors for the large masses of people. Egregores possesses self-awareness, big intelligence and all the infernal talents and vices. The egregore can begin with the level of family, school team, firm, then various social movements, branches of science, medicine, history, religions and beliefs, the political movements and statehood. The character of relationship of a lover and a person can be transferred easily to relationship of an egregore with its apologists, but already on a global scale. High-tech material civilizations. These are gendarmes at the global level, so-called global predictor. They form the number of the population, the state and government institutes, network of material devices on collecting energy from entire territory of the Earth, coordinate implementation of the global plan of a demonic way of development and suppress mental abilities of people. For lovers, this civilization are the forces of nature, the executors of the divine concept, and have their own interests in assigning and transmitting life energy. In material terms, they export the extracted minerals, locally grown food, genetic material, and many other things. Infernal hierarchies. These are not material, infernal entities of high level. They form the development plan not only for our civilization, but also for civilizations that supervise ours. They are angels and gods for lava. And the last one is Inferno. It is incomprehensibly huge foul place which is sucking up all collected energy from all worlds where collecting energy of creation is adjusted. Inferno for them is also the Father, the Almighty, the Lord God. It is this Lord God who is the source of maintaining this whole infernal system. In the hierarchy of the divine path of development, the picture is similar, but fundamentally different. Soul. This is something which lava competes to. Often by the end of the life it wins and substitutes personality. Such person is vicious, egocentric, cruel, intellectually limited. All pity and love is concentrated on lava. Guardian angels, entities of spirit. These are the power beings helping a person on the way of spiritual development and evolution. In fact, it is a part of infinitely large number of beings governing all imaginable and not imaginable processes of the universe. In the end, we ourselves are the entities of that spirit, temporarily incarnated into obtain material experience. Medicine men, wizards, magi, gods of reality, Yah. These are real living people at a high stage of evolutionary development who reached the level of materiality control. For lovers, they are also the angels and the gods, not good but deadly dangerous. The analog of egregores triggered by the collective connection to an information field. At the moment they are not involved, at least it seems so to me. Clearly you can see it in the animal kingdom when the population joins a swarm. High-tech material civilization of the peoples of the race. In such civilizations, living conditions of lava are unbearable for lovers, they become visible and can be easily destroyed. Imagine a world where there is no vanity and hubris. The person is physically unable to focus on resentment, envy, gluttony and other vices. Many of our contemporaries would not want to live in this world. Gods of Prav. These are the highest hierarchies forming processes in material world. For parasites is just the forces of nature. It is possible to include here entities of stars and heavenly objects. Creator. That is the reason for the existence of our world and the entire world system, including its own laws and the infernal world itself. The Creator is not a Lord, not a God, He is not the One, not Triune, not a Father, not a male, not our similarity, even if some time ago, long before this universe, He might have begun the evolution in a human form. There are no guarantees that it is in general personality. It can turn out that it is a set of entities, the phenomena and laws of the nature. We can deal indirectly with all representatives of the hierarchy except for Inferno. And we can't deal with the Creator. He will never answer us, but He contains us. As it can be seen from this, the divine hierarchy is fundamentally above the infernal. The infernal civilization is represented as an auxiliary structure of the universe. The god Yahweh in this scheme, judging by the description of his acts, is on the level of the infernal, high-tech material civilizations. Jesus Christ belonged to the level of wise men, wizards. Then he had to go to the level of gods of Pra in the non-material world. Or he could continue his evolution on Earth in the status of the god of reality. Body media is a clean, not modulated amount of energy, a portion of which the person receives daily. Most people don't understand what to do with it and how it works. The society, in conjunction with elementals, offer to put the energy in emotions to choose from: fear, envy, hatred, anger, unanswered love, passion, every form of debauchery, and so on. As soon as a person makes a choice, his daily concentration on it at some point generates a lava. The parasite connects the person to the infernal stream and connects itself to control psychological and mental processes. From this moment, the person begins to feel a psychological response to his fixated thoughts. For him, they become real. It means they go into the category of material, physical. With the same success, a person can consciously take a piece of received energy in his hands and specify a program on what precisely a person wants to use his energy for. Under the terms of programming, it is necessary to set options on what events the device has to operate, how exactly it should operate, from what energy source it has to be powered, and in which cases, where the device has to be stored in space, or on what material it has to fasten. What is the validity period and the conditions for its deactivation? Whether the device has to have intelligence, emotions, instinct of self-preservation, feedback with the creator, and so on? For example, if you do not set the end of the program, it can develop own intelligence, suck away all life force, become a nightmare, can survive the host, and many other things can happen. On the same principle, one can create devices which will set the pace, strength, and growing conditions of a harvest, objects with a magic incantation to protect the person against evil like guardians of property, charms. One can create the medicines and means for treatment or activation of internal resources, intelligence, or setting various psychological parameters of the person. Wormis, evil eye, works by the same principle. In order the device have been created, one needs to imagine it most accurately, in other words, to visualize it and to want strongly that it occurred. You may express your intention out loud without doubts that will help to create intensity of emotions and certitude. Confirmation of a magical act is a tingling sensation around the spine, striking the head as if the skull is open and you kind of feel the flow of energy from the space permeates the body and goes into the ground. The most important, after all this happen, one needs to be promptly distracted and to forget about all this. The more sudden will be the break of thoughts, the more creation of a device will be effective. Just how successfully the procedure has passed, one can judge by how rapidly and deeply one managed to forget about the creation of the device. If done correctly, the desire to think about it doesn't even arise, since everything seems burned out and became indifferent. Everyone will have different results depending on the level of evolutionary development. Most will not simply wish to do that, they understand that it is not necessary to waste time. To no one would have a hunch about this procedure, the media floods us with a description of the magical special effects in movies and books that are irrelevant to reality. The change of the materiality of the world, even forced, occur without violating its laws. Materiality has more than enough means for this purpose. Therefore, without adequate explanation of how it works, we do not even realize how much we all materialize, including material things and processes taking place in reality. The area of creation of such mental devices is not limited. In order to bring the device to implementation, you can use a method of scientific trial and the creative impulse, since it's possible to calculate all input conditions. As you gain experience, new knowledge is being systematized and finds a place in the new reality of the expanding human consciousness. Almost all socialized people can create the lava and the device, as the civilization is at the appropriate evolutionary level. The people of the next evolutionary stage, like magicians, wizards, gods of reality, are able to co-create, control material world and its processes within certain limits. but society systematically gets rid of them. Nowadays, most people are looking for a partner not on the principle of humanity, love, harmony, and with a view of worthy procreation. Most often, it is the lover who is looking for a partner parasite on the other carrier and able to see it from afar. Parasite reads on appearance, degree of internal problems and complexes, nervousness and pride, then tests him by offenses, scandals, stupidity. The ideal partner should respond accordingly, and if the lovers see the prospect of joint coexistence, despite all this nonsense, two people become a couple and experience love and passion generated by the lover. Soon, when the guarantee of the connectedness of people by circumstances and new habits will be created, parasites transfer love into hatred and disgust, or break relations if the relationship interferes with the quality use by the recipient. If a couple brawls and does it so often, resulting in bewilderment of others, we can understand that parasites are having sex. As a result of this process, new lovers are produced. They are being placed on other people, including children. At the final stage of human life, lava in most cases replaces the consciousness of a man with its own. So, instead of our relatives and friends, once we discover strange creatures, endlessly irritated, bigoted or ardent atheists, self-centered, mentally degraded, mired in nasty habits. And that is the material image of the lava. The whole life people faithfully and selflessly served as food and, living life, are proud with this sacrifice. A necessary condition enabling the use of humans is making them stable schizophrenics. Psychology collects the growing number of phobias and brings them to the rank of the individual diseases. Now their number exceeded 1,000, but the cause of all phobias is the only one: the consequences of lava's activity. Firstly, lava likes to eat regularly, tasty and varied. Secondly, they thus express their individuality as if calling their name. Schizophrenia is a necessary brine for the life of the lava. In most cases, brain damage is the result of a long draining of vitality through appropriate conflict areas, which the medicine distinguishes but swaps the cause and effect. Technologically, the relationship of lavas and humans develop in such a way. The parasite creates in man the necessary level of infernal conflicts of fears, phobias, passions, vanity and other vices, the worse the better, and, in return, feeds him dopes. The man lives as in hell, but he feels a perverse pleasure each time, waiting for a new portion, suffering from shame, cowardice, anger and hatred. To stop people from rebelling against the infernal violence, lava causes a person to use the moral violence against anyone who cannot offer resistance. The parents over the children, bosses over subordinates, the developed countries over third world countries. All the evil qualities that a person experiences belong to the parasite. It is the fear of being unmasked, the lies, self-pity, cowardice, laziness, sexual immorality, gluttony, and the list goes on. All this is a reflection of the fear and propensities of the parasite. Lava is afraid of exposure and it's insatiable. So the glutton rips the belly and still cannot feel replention. Alcoholic and lecher cannot stop as never have enough. And the man unwittingly attributes all these qualities to himself, standing up for its manifestation, names it freedom of expression of the individual. It makes no sense to blame the infernal world, and lava in particular, for what she makes us what we are. We daily agree to give ourselves to be used and enjoy a perverse suffering in return for another dose of the dope. Even before birth we made the decision to learn the evolutionary lesson, and now this teamster should be treated with due respect and understanding. To choose the divine or demonic path of development, how to go and by what means, is a private matter. I believe that even before birth we chose a direction and figured out all the options and ways that we can embody. So what to do in general and in particular, this information is already contained in us, ready for all occasion. It's being conveyed to us through conscious and intuition. If this is a problem, then ask yourself a question the same way as before. You need to have a strong desire to know the answer. Visualize the question, say it out loud or mentally. Verification: you need to feel goosebumps and stop thinking about it abruptly, in other words, forget. Especially the next day, you need to be in a wait state. The answer will come through the phenomena of nature, animals, or people in the form of the enlightenment. This method is general purpose and applicable to anything whatsoever. Here are a few tactical ways to resist the aggression of mental parasites. When the program is started, it can be changed at key points, but we notice them when it all has happened. Now, instead of falling into despair or to withdraw into resentment, you need to re-understand how irritation or aggression started. Next time, we will remember not after, but during the process. And so, gradually, time after time, we will reach the point when we will be aware of the beginning of the process, even before it began. From this point, it's being easily manipulated, could be launched in other direction or be cancelled. For this purpose are also well suited persistent, complex or creative work, meditation, work with chakras, energy purification, psychological cleansing of the body, rejection of drugs, switching to a plant-based food. Someone is helped by a prayer or various ritual actions. The looped thought imposed by lava can be brought down by repeating the first letter of the word, like stuttering. The parasite is quickly blown off and refuses to continue attempts to loop. Unimportance of everything. Remember about death. Parasites catch people on the importance of everything, so unimportance knocks out the main trump card. Understanding that one's death or death of a loved one can come at any time depreciates irritation and negative emotions. Refutation. For any self-absorbing thought, express a thought with the opposite meaning. It disconnects the lava, the outflow of energy is broken. In Cimarron there is GOB, abbreviated from Get Out, You Blockhead. Literally, send away the idea introduced by the parasite. Charmi is the security spell on behalf of the god Chur, who protects the purity of thoughts and material property. Recover lost energy back. This is done like this. Immediately after internal or external conflict, oppression, irritation, frustration, etc., after the end of the process, instead of mourning the defeat, it is necessary during a long, slow inhalation to quickly reminisce how the process originated, how it went, what emotions one felt, and how it ended. Thus, we arise all the threads of energy that have flowed during the process and mentally suck them back during the inhalation. Since all the energy taken away from us since our birth hasn't disappeared and has remained ours according to the law of nature, we have the right to take it back at any convenient moment for us on legal grounds. It's easier to do it in hot pursuit in seconds and as many times as we want. Making decisions excluding lies from thoughts and speech. In order for the lava doesn't have an opportunity to manipulate a person, one must begin to take responsibility for every act and mentally disclose one's even the most insignificant decisions. The phased elimination of lies from life will lead to the fact that thoughts and spoken words will start to acquire the power of spells. These are the key moments of man's spiritual and evolutionary development.